Hello, welcome back to Maya sits on the floor in her kitchen contemplating life. Not alcohol this time, just tea. I want to talk about managing expectations. More on that in a bit. So 7 years ago at SOAR, before they had us choose courses from the catalog, they gave us a sheet of paper. And one of the questions on the paper was, what are areas of study that you're interested in? I had come to college with the idea that I'm going to study psychology. So I put that down. That was my first choice. But I reread the question again and it says what sort of things are you interested in? I was the editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper, so I put down journalism. Then I also put down film, because when I had left high school I was really into making videos with my friends. And then I think I put Spanish too, because I was really into Spanish. So I had those 4 things down, and I didn't know that the orientation people would use that sheet to place me with an advisor. For students who put down one subject that they knew they wanted to study, they would place them with an advisor from that department. So if you were really interested in, say, anthropology, they would place you with an advisor from the anthropology department. I got assigned an advisor from, they had a bunch of advisors and something called CCAS, which basically was the group of advisors who were assigned to you if you were considered undecided. I guess they gathered from the sheet that I handed in, this girl is interested in all these things, so she probably doesn't know what she wants to study. So let's assign her to, just a random advisor. And so I thought that was a little weird, because I'm like, well, no, I know I want to study psychology, I came here for that. Talked to the advisor people and said, hey, actually, I know what I'm here to study for, so can you please switch me over to the psychology advisor guy? So it was fine. They switched me over, and I got a degree in psychology, a $30,000 degree that I'm now paying back for in student loans. So I talked about this a little bit in my quarter life crisis video, a little bit about how you go into something and you have these expectations of what it should be like, and then you're doing it, and then maybe you realize that it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be. Or maybe it was what you thought it was going to be, but how you feel about it when you're actually doing it isn't what you thought you were going to feel. Does that make sense? When I first got the job that I currently have now, I'm like, well, I'm actually, doing work in the field that I studied for, so this is perfect. For the first few months, I'm like, yes, this is really cool. I'm really excited to be here. It's 3 years later now, and I sort of feel like I've probably gotten what I can out of this experience. I just feel this way due to a combination of factors. One is that I've been there for quite a while now, and the sort of work that I'm doing, it's entry-level stuff. When I first started the job, I was learning a lot of new things. I had room to grow, but now it's been 3 years there, and I don't know what more I can learn given my own skill set. I don't know how much more room there is for me to grow now that I've been there for a while. I don't know, it's hard. I can't say that I won't learn more, because I'm still learning more things about myself and how to do things, but I feel like the rate of growth has slowed down the last year or so compared to in my first year at this job. So I guess that's how it works out though, right? In real jobs. In a way, I'm kind of ready for a change. This sort of feeling of wanting to do something new or different. It's sort of a combination of things. One probably is the glaring fact that funding for the project that I'm working on ends at the end of July. I feel like my life is just a series of events counting down to end of July. Another reason why I feel like I want to do something new is just because I traveled to London recently. It sort of got me thinking about how I've been quite comfortable in my work, in my life here. When you get into the routine of things, you forget that there are other places out there. I want to see what's out there. I want to try different things. It's April now. My funding ends at the end of July, so I don't have a lot of time to figure out where to move from there. So my options for the end of July are I can, one, stay at my job. The PI that I work for, she has this other grant proposal that could go through, which means that I would just be placed into a different project and be paid from that. The catch, though, is that the job is only 50% time, part-time, which means that I need to get a second job again, you may remember that I used to have a second job where I would juggle the lab job and a daycare job, and I did that for 2 years. The juggling 2 jobs lifestyle, I don't know if I'm ready to go back to that again. And so my second option, I could stay at the lab but not take on another job. Of course, then that means that I wouldn't be able to pay for my apartment. And so I kind of briefly entertained the idea of like, well, you know, my mom lives an hour out from Madison, so I could live with my mom and commute to work. But then you think about it, it's like, well, it's a 2-hour commute. Do I really want to do that for another year? Then I was thinking, well, okay, maybe I don't have to take on the lab job. I could move to a different place, a different country even, and just work elsewhere. So a friend of a friend who I'd met months ago had talked about how she lived for a year in New Zealand, which, if you know me at all, you know that's the top country that I want to travel to. She was sent out there through this program. She gave me the site. I finally checked it out. They make it sound really easy to get like a working visa. The thing is, like, they'll get you the visa, but once you get there to the country, you have to find your own job, which is fine. But then I was reading the website and they're like, well, let's say you want to go to New Zealand, like your choices of jobs are pretty much like barista, working at some sort of resort, wait staff. And so these all seemed like really customer service type jobs, right? Having worked at like a respected research university, I didn't know if I wanted to suddenly move to New Zealand and bartend. What I wanted to do ideally was like move to New Zealand and get a research job at a university down there. Then I thought, like, would they really take somebody who's like on a 1-year work visa? It's not realistic, you know? Maybe I'll, you know, take a year off of everything, go back, live with my mom, maybe apply to grad school, because my options for jobs out there are pretty limited. And then it got me thinking about expectations. In adulthood, in life, you've got to learn how to manage your expectations. Because you can have all these things that you want to do, but when you think realistically about it, it's probably not gonna all turn out exactly the way you want it. So pretty much what you end up doing is you change your expectations. You lower them regarding either yourself or certain things, or you just change them entirely. Or you have learned to not have any expectations about things. And I think part of the reason that I'm sort of getting stressed out about this is because I still have these expectations about what, you know, this sort of job should be like, or what this kind of graduate program should be like, or what I should be doing at this point in my life. Maybe I'm just immobilized by indecision. One thing that definitely affects my decisions is money. I need to pay to put food on the table, pay my student loans and my bills. It becomes all about like, well, okay, what can I do to earn a paycheck? So it's really hard to sort of just pursue the things that you like. There are other things I would love to do and try my hand at. I want to make a bunch of short films. I want to try my hand at animation. I want to travel and learn different languages. But, you know, I kind of feel restricted because I have to have a job so I can pay for these things. But then you have this job and you're working at it 40 hours a week. And so then it takes up your time. And so you feel limited that way. What is the meaning of life? I thought like the meaning of life was to just have meaningful experiences. Do things that make you happy, make others happy. Being an adult, it just seems like the point of living is actually to manage your expectations and live within your means. And the tea's gone, so I think that is where I will end my talk. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. I'll be a little bit more upbeat for my next video. I have quite a few ideas that I want to flesh out in video form. And, you know, feel free to chime in with stuff. The reason I vlog is because I want to connect with people. I want to know if other people feel the same way I do. And if they do, I want to hear about it. If you're watching, say hi. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thanks for listening.